Why only these three types of intelligence can help you survive the end of times, a deeper dive into spiritual wisdom. Have you ever found yourself lost in the vast sea of information, wondering what truly matters on the path of spiritual growth? We live in an age where knowledge is abundant, easily accessible, and often overwhelming. Yet, despite the ocean of knowledge we wade through daily, very few people understand that knowledge is merely the entry point to a far deeper and transformative journey. The real power doesn't lie in knowing facts, memorizing teachings, or quoting scholars. The true essence of spiritual survival lies in transcending knowledge and stepping into the realms of intellect and, ultimately, wisdom. This journey from knowledge to wisdom is not just an intellectual endeavor. It's a profound process that invites us to move beyond the surface level of understanding and into the depths of our own being. In the chaotic and challenging times we face today, particularly during what many spiritual traditions call the end of times, or mat phap, only a deep understanding of these three types of intelligence, knowledge, intellect, and wisdom, can help us navigate the complex world and find spiritual peace. But how exactly do these three forms of intelligence work together, and why are they essential for spiritual survival? Let's dive in and discover what lies beyond mere knowledge. In this exploration, we'll uncover how intellect sharpens our understanding, how wisdom illuminates the ultimate truths of life, and how each of us can cultivate these gifts to live more fully, consciously, and with purpose. The first step, knowledge as the doorway. Knowledge, the first of these three types of intelligence, is often regarded as the foundation of learning. It's the information we collect through books, lectures, experiences, and discussions. It's what schools, universities, and online platforms focus on imparting to us. But knowledge, in its raw form, is just a collection of facts. It doesn't change the world on its own. As the philosopher Francis Bacon once said, knowledge is power, but that power is only potential, waiting to be unleashed through proper application. When we approach knowledge from a purely intellectual perspective, we see it as something to be acquired, categorized, and stored. We measure success by how much we know, how many books we've read, how many degrees we hold, or how well we can debate and discuss various topics. But here lies the paradox: while knowledge expands our horizons, it can also confine us. The danger of over-relying on knowledge is that we may become fixated on the outer forms of understanding, missing the deeper truth within. For example, in Buddhist teachings, there is a concept known as pratitya samutpada, or dependent origination, which explains the interconnected nature of all things. Understanding this concept intellectually is one thing, but experiencing it, living in a way that truly reflects the interconnectedness of life, is quite another. This is where knowledge falls short if it remains only theoretical. The real transformation begins when we start to embody what we learn, which leads us to the next level of intelligence, intellect. The next level, intellect as a tool for transformation. Intellect takes knowledge and begins to mold it into something more meaningful. It's the ability to discern, analyze, and synthesize information to gain deeper insights. While knowledge is often external, intellect is more personal, allowing us to apply what we know in ways that are relevant to our lives. It's like taking raw ingredients and cooking them into a nourishing meal. Intellect is often associated with critical thinking and problem solving. It's what allows us to see connections between ideas, to recognize patterns, and to draw conclusions that might not be immediately obvious. For example, the ability to understand abstract concepts like time and space, as Albert Einstein demonstrated through his theory of relativity, requires not just knowledge of physics but intellectual creativity that pushes boundaries and explores unknown territories. A classic example of the power of intellect in a practical sense comes from the field of business and innovation. Consider the story of Steve Jobs, who, through his intellectual vision, was able to transform the world of personal technology. Jobs didn't invent the computer or the smartphone, but his ability to reimagine how these devices could be used in everyday life, integrating design, function, and user experience, showcased the power of intellect in action. It was his capacity to think beyond the obvious that led to groundbreaking innovations that changed the world. Similarly, on the spiritual path, intellect helps us to break free from rigid dogmas or surface-level interpretations of spiritual texts. It encourages us to question, to go deeper, and to seek our own understanding of the truth. Intellect is what drives us to meditate on the teachings, to experiment with spiritual practices, and to make our own discoveries along the way. But even intellect, as powerful as it is not the final goal. It is a necessary step toward wisdom, but not wisdom itself. The final frontier, wisdom as the ultimate state of being. Wisdom is not something that can be taught. It is a state of being that emerges from a deep understanding of life, nurtured by both knowledge and intellect, but transcending them. While knowledge is external and intellect is internal, wisdom is a fusion of the two, combined with experience and intuition. It's the ability to see things as they truly are, not as they appear to be. Wisdom is what allows us to navigate the complexities of life with grace, compassion, and understanding. It's what helps us see beyond the dualities of right and wrong, success and failure, gain and loss. Wisdom recognizes the impermanent nature of all things and the interconnectedness of all life. In the Buddhist tradition, wisdom, prajna, is one of the highest virtues, seen as the key to enlightenment. One of the most profound stories that illustrates the power of wisdom is that of the Buddha himself. After years of seeking knowledge and intellectual understanding through ascetic practices, Siddhartha Gautama realized that neither extreme austerity nor indulgence could lead to true freedom. It was only when he sat under the Bodhi tree and let go of his intellectual striving that he attained enlightenment. This moment of profound realization wasn't the result of accumulating more knowledge, it was the flowering of wisdom, a deep, inner knowing that transcended all concepts and beliefs. Another example of wisdom in action can be seen in the life of Nelson Mandela. After spending 27 years in prison, Mandela emerged not with bitterness or anger but with wisdom and compassion. His ability to forgive his captors and work towards reconciliation in South Africa wasn't an intellectual decision, it came from a place of deep wisdom, recognizing that hatred only perpetuates suffering, while forgiveness can heal and transform. Wisdom, then, is the culmination of all our experiences, both the successes and the failures, the joys and the sorrows. It's the ability to see beyond the surface and to understand the deeper truths of life. And in today's world, where we are constantly bombarded with information and distractions, cultivating wisdom is more important than ever. The three forms of intelligence and survival in the end of times. As we face the uncertainty of the modern world, whether it's political unrest, environmental crises, or personal challenges, these three forms of intelligence become critical for our spiritual survival. Knowledge provides us with the tools to navigate the world, intellect helps us apply those tools in meaningful ways, and wisdom guides us to see the bigger picture and act in alignment with the truth. In the context of the end of times, many spiritual traditions speak of a period of great upheaval, a time when the old structures of the world will crumble, and only those who have cultivated inner strength and wisdom will thrive. This is not just a literal survival, it's about spiritual endurance. The chaotic energies of the world can easily sweep us away if we are rooted only in knowledge. But if we have nurtured our intellect and, more importantly, cultivated wisdom, we will be able to navigate these times with clarity, peace, and resilience. In fact, the story of wisdom as the guiding light through dark times is echoed throughout history. The Bhagavad Gita, a sacred Hindu text, tells the story of Arjuna, a warrior who faces a moral and existential crisis on the battlefield. It's only through the wisdom imparted by Krishna that Arjuna is able to understand the true nature of life, death, and duty. This wisdom gives him the strength to face his challenges without fear or attachment, knowing that the true self is beyond birth and death. Lessons learned, the path to true intelligence. In conclusion, the journey from knowledge to intellect to wisdom is not just an intellectual exercise, it is a spiritual path that each of us must walk. While knowledge provides the foundation, it is not enough to guide us through life's complexities. Intellect helps us navigate the terrain, but it's wisdom that gives us the vision to see the bigger picture and make decisions that are in alignment with our highest self. In a world that is constantly changing and often overwhelming, cultivating wisdom is more important than ever. It's not about knowing more or being smarter, it's about understanding more deeply and living more authentically. Wisdom allows us to live in harmony with ourselves, others, and the universe. It helps us see beyond the illusion of separation and recognize the interconnectedness of all life. So, as you continue on your journey of spiritual growth, remember that knowledge is just the beginning. Use your intellect to explore, question, and discover, but always seek the deeper wisdom that lies within. This is the intelligence that will guide you through the end of times and beyond, helping you live a life of meaning, purpose, and peace.